Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Beyond the Strategy podcast, hosted by your very own girl, Patty the Strategist. Now, on this podcast, we are talking about entrepreneurship, the thing that throws you out to the wolves. If you're an entrepreneur, I'm sure you know what I'm referring to. Such a ghetto decision to make, but I will not have it any other way. Now, let me take you through my journey and how I got into full-time entrepreneurship. A little backstory. In uni, I always used to say that, no, I'm not an entrepreneurship person, I'm not a business person. In fact, I hated the concept of sales. And so if you're listening to this and you feel the same way, I want you to know that selling is a skill that can be built. The more you do it, the better you become at it. So open your mind to the possible things that can happen. Nothing is really permanent, really, right? So here I was telling myself that I was not born to be an entrepreneur. I was born to help people push their business. I was born to support people. And here I am, years later, running businesses. In fact, here I am, years later, helping businesses make money. Do you get the ripple effect of that? I'm not only generating revenue in my business, I'm helping other business owners generate revenue in theirs. So my first venture or my first business started as a passion project. People loved my style. People loved the things that I make and I wear. I'll go to town, find, great fabrics, find a style, a very nice, trendy style, and then have my seamstress in Labadi sew it for me, and it looked really great. And I got people asking, and then I started making clothes for people, styling people. So Style Militi is coming back soon. Get your monies ready. So fast forward, when I quit my job, in my mind, I was going to go to fashion school and then start that. But God had a bigger plan. You may not have been listening to this podcast if I went fully into passion. So we thank God for His grace and His direction in this journey. Patty the Strategist kicked in fully when I had to pivot because there was the COVID lockdown. People were not making clothes, and then I started. So I launched officially on 15th of July 2020. And I started putting out content. So I had learned that as a personal brand that's trying to monetize your knowledge, you needed to, sell your expertise, build authority, build influence before you can start taking money. So from July, August, September, I was churning out content. Now, prior to September, I had one of my friends, Heavily Oasis, send a client my way, which is a mother care brand, who needed social media management. Now, backstory, that reminds me. Before I left the agency, I randomly visited a salon that was operating 24-hour service around Ghana. And I love the service so much. I checked their social media, checked their socials, and I didn't see much. So one day I went to find the owner. I was like, I really want to help you build your social media presence. And I actually found out that we're going to the same church, which is Maker's House Chapel. So I would say that my entrepreneurship journey started from there, even though I was not taking money from her. It was something, beauty, hair, all those things, nails were things I was interested in. So I was using that to build myself. So when the mother care brand came, it was quite a new terrain, but I needed money. So I said, let's do this. That was a learning curve for me, but I learned so much from that experience. I undercharged, first of all, because for a mother care brand, they have a lot of products, like loads of products, more than 100 different brands that they are restocking. They are stocking, they are retailing. So it meant that it was consuming so much of my time. And as a social media manager, I was taking product pictures, I was taking videos, I was the one putting together the content plan. I was literally doing everything. And I wasn't even getting enough sleep. because the mother care space was also something that was new to me. So I had to learn about, childbirth, some of these products. By the time I'll finish researching on one product and communicate its value, it's morning and I'm posting and then we go again. So it was such a tedious task. I went back to the client and I was like, you know what, the pricing is not working for me. I would have to raise the price. And deep down, I knew I didn't want to do that job anymore because it was also affecting the quality of content and how consistent I was showing up on my page, which directly affects my visibility. So I was very happy when the client said she couldn't afford my new rate. It wasn't going to work for her. I said, okay, cool, thank you, I'll see you, bye. And now one thing that brand did for me was exposure to how much SMEs can make. I was used to working with big budgets from the multinational brands because an experiential budget alone for, let's say, brand A, which is a multinational brand, can be like 200,000. That's just their marketing budget for that particular campaign. But I a lot of these Instagram businesses, you think that they don't have money. They have money. We make a lot of money on Instagram. So if you're here, you're thinking you don't respect these Instagram businesses, start respecting them because they are making money. So this lady sent me her stock list, and the stock list came with prices, right? So she had a summation of everything, the worth of everything in her store. And that opened my mind to the possibility of what other businesses could make in that industry. And that was her side business, okay? So push that aside. I started focusing solely on Patty the Strategist. And that was the time I told myself that I won't ever do social media management again. So if you reach out to me and you say, oh, I need you to manage my page, no dear, I'll not do it. Maybe in the future, we will consider running an agency for that. But for now, Habibi, no. So I launched my very first product in September, which is called 5 Days of Strategy. Now, let me tell you the cocoa of the matter. I did t-shirts, creating anticipation with the name of the service, with the dates I was, taking registration, did videos. Hey, 21st September came and nobody registered. At that time, it was 600 cedis. I was like, wow, nobody. I was so sad because I needed money to survive, right? Oh, and let me also say that the money I got from the social media client is what I used to buy my very first swivel chair. So I had the desk already, but I didn't have a chair. So when I got money from the Mother Care brand, I used to buy my chair, which is the chair I'm currently using now. So nobody signed up for this product, oh my dear. So all the victories you are seeing now, there were low times. There were low seasons where nobody was minding me. They're like, who is this girl? Also because Ghanaians were not really used to services like that and all of that. Those who were used to it preferred Nigerian coaches because, they had been doing it for years. They had proof of results and all of that. So I don't really blame them. Then I came up with a plan, right? And it's probably the Holy Spirit that gave me that plan because I was really going through it during that time. So I said I was going to do a giveaway. I was giving away 3 free slots for the 5 days of strategy. And we're going to do virtual one-on-one sessions where I tell you what to do to grow your business. So that, when I did the post, 6 people submitted their names. One of them, when I called, she didn't answer the phone. She didn't call me back. So I said, okay. Then out of the 5, 3 stayed to the end, right? Out of those 3, one person said, this is so much value that you've given to me for free, so I'm sending you a gift. So this gift was a box of pastries, and I loved the pastries. So I said, oh, I'm going to order the same thing for myself. So I reached out to the vendor. I was like, oh, so this was Beyond Flour. I reached out to her. I was like, I really love the pastries. I want to order some. And she was like, oh, the lady who ordered for you actually said a lot of awesome things about you. And I need you to also help my business. So how do I pay for the 5 days of strategy? So that's how I made my first 600 Cedis as part of the Strategist. So Akosia, shout out to you. You were my first official client. If you're listening to this, you were my first official client as a marketing strategist. And then from there, you know, I had testimonials from the people I did the free stuff for. And well, some of them fell off the wagon, which is also why I don't do a lot of free one-on-one consultations, because a lot of times when people are not investing money into things, they don't really take it seriously. Just a few people will take it seriously. So now I had a few testimonials. This was in September. Then fast forward to January, I did my very first physical workshop. I had 8 people sign up. And out of that 8, it was a struggle getting that 8. I gave some of the seats out for free. I gave some at half price. I gave some installments payments. You know, people had to pay after the boot camp, you know, but I pushed through to make it happen because I needed people to see what I could do. So there, I also got, you know, great testimonials, and then the clients started trooping in. Then somewhere in April, I decided to launch my very first masterclass, my first online masterclass about content strategy. Now that product changed so many things about my business, and I'm going to tell you now. When I launched the product, you know, did really nice videos, graphics, did the photo shoots, everything. So at this point, I had made small money, so I could afford to hire a photographer, you know, videographer, graphic designer, small and things. So I did a proper launch strategy. And then when the products launched, people were not really signing up. You know, it's like I said, still new to the market. Then one night I was going to bed. So I just sat at the edge of my bed and I said, God, I've not paid my tithe in a while, right? And this is how much I want to make from this product. I wanted to make my first 10K from this product. I had never seen 10K as a business owner before. So it was a huge milestone for me that I wanted to cross. So if you give me the number of people I need to sign up for me to get this 10K, I'm going to pay my tithe from that 10%. And then I'll start being consistent with my tithe ever since, like from there. Cool. I said this simple prayer and then I went to bed. When I went to bed, I had a dream. And in my dream, I saw my pastor, Dr. Michael Nyamiche, telling me that use the 10% for the children's ministry. It was that simple. Use the 10% for the children's ministry. It's like, I never dream and write the dreams down, but when I woke up, I had the urge to write it down, write the dates, and even the time. So I spoke to one of my friends who was big on giving at that time, and she was like, I was like, I really do not know if there's even a children's ministry in my church, because I go to church and I come back home. I'm not active. I'm not trying to find things out. And she said, go and find it out before the money comes, because there's a tricky thing with money. If you wait until the money comes, the money will find things to do with itself. So go and find the children's ministry and even devise a plan before the money comes. I was like, okay. And come to think of it, that actually was a step of faith. So I texted one of my friends who is actually very active in the church a call. And the call says, oh, yeah, there's a children's ministry in Maker's House. However, they usually do not take money. If you want to give, usually maybe you buy sweets, you buy snacks. If it's your birthday, you get a cake and you cut it with them. And in my head, I said, no, The amount, because remember I wanted to make 10k, so 10% of 10k was 1,000 cedis. How much sweets are you going to buy with, like that's a lot of sweets for kids. So I said no, I don't think that's not the direction that I got. So I said, okay, when the money comes, I'll let you know, so we find a way around it. Then the next Sunday, I go to church. At that time, I was living somewhere very remote. Getting an Uber to church was a struggle. That day, I really struggled. I almost didn't go to church, but I finally got a ride and I got to church. So I was so late that I was sitting at the last row of seats. Dr. Michael Boydin Yamicha was preaching. After he preached, they took the offering, and then he goes like, if you brought your tithe and the seed for your children's ministry, bring it forward. Imagine, like, my jaw literally dropped. Like, what does this man mean by if you brought your seed for the children's ministry? I was like, what's going on? So something kept saying, go and speak to the man of God. Go and say. I said no. And if you know me, I'm highly introverted. It is this role that is making me put myself out there. I kept getting the prompting to go and speak to my pastor. And knowing me, I'm a very introverted person. I don't like ahosheshe. So if you are listening and you don't understand tree, I don't like having to force myself on people. Honestly, I don't know how I got to the front of the auditorium. And I was the last person he spoke to. So I went to him and I was like, Papa, I had a dream. And then in my dream, this is what you told me. I've heard of children's ministry just twice. The first one was in my dream. The second time is today as we were closing the service. And even he was shocked. He kept saying, wow, the Spirit of God is one. Wow, the Spirit of God is one. And he was like, you were not in church last week, Sunday. I said, no, I was not. And he was like, okay, we announced it in church last Sunday. So for things like this, no amount is too big or too small. So you can give any amount that you feel you can. I was teary, like I was literally crying, and it was during the post-COVID era, so you have to wear your nose mask to work, so you could see my eyes, and I was like, hey, at all, so that's tree, and that means like you are shocked, right? I was like, yeah, I'm really shocked. So I was in so much of a hurry to get home because I needed to know when I had this dream, right? So I get home, I rush straight to my bedside cabinet to pick the journal that I wrote the dream in. And guess what? The same Sunday that I missed the service that they announced this children's ministry seed in church, I had a dream Sunday night into Monday. So because I missed church, God entered my dream. Now, I also believe that I was supposed to miss church because at that time I was not big on sowing seeds and, giving in church and all of that. I would just give my offering, sometimes pay my tithe and go home. So if they had said that, I wouldn't have felt led to give to the children's ministry. So I feel like I was divinely orchestrated to miss church that Sunday. That day I sat on my carpet and I cried because that was the evidence that God could hear me. That was my very first evidence that God could hear me. And he used somebody that was a spiritual figure in my life to speak back to me. Because if God had spoken to me in another format, I would say that no, it's my mind that was playing with me, and I would think about all the ways that I was cash trapped. So I found the money, went to make the payments, like I went to sow the seed the next Sunday, in anticipation of the good things that he had told me he was going to do, which was helping me achieve my target. So one day randomly, I was in the bathroom and then I got the idea on how to do an audit, a social media audit for some brands. Like, in fact, the brands that followed me, about 80 people submitted their handles for the audit. Out of that 80, about 50 or 60 people bought the class, registered for the class. And that's how I made my first 10K. It was by divine intervention. I had learned how to launch, I had done things, but if I didn't get that prompting, first of all, if I didn't tie my revenue into a kingdom agenda, I wouldn't have gotten the direction on what to do specifically to get people to sign up. So my first 10K, in fact, my first lump sum of money was not by my mind or by my strength. So that's my friend. From there, things started going, uphill from there. More testimonials, more clients wanting one-on-ones, more clients wanting me to coach them. It was an amazing experience from there. There were also like major challenges through the journey. There were times that I literally could not even buy my monthly internet to do a coaching call with a client. Things have been hard before. In one of these episodes, I'm going to take you through the ghetto of entrepreneurship. So that's basically how my journey has been 2 years later. In fact, my next boot camp, which had 8 sign-ups in 2021, in 2021, I had 8 people sign up. In 2022, I had 16 people sign up. Now, guess what? In 2023, 32 people sign up. Do you get the math? Everything was doubling. And 2023 was one of my easiest years of selling this particular workshop, because if you know or if you've heard of the business strategy launchpad, it's quite on the high side, and I usually have to struggle to get people to sign up. But this year, I did not struggle at all. Like, the seats were booked. Like, that's my very first sold out. I've been waiting so long to say we are fully booked, we are sold out, and it was so fulfilling. Not just the fact that I could say sold out, but the kind of people who were in the room and got the impact that they got in that room was amazing. So it's been quite a journey. The highs, the lows, the in-betweens, the times that I question my decision to do this, the times where I felt like, you know what, let me just go and apply for a job and just forget this thing, The times where I didn't know when the next, revenue is going to come from to pay the next bill. It's been a tough journey, but we are pushing through. That's what entrepreneurship is. Like, you're not only solving problems for your clients, you're solving problems in your life and the lives of your employees. So keep pushing. Nothing really comes easily. So I'm going to take a few questions from the gram, and then we wrap up this episode. Let's go right into the questions. First question, favorite part of your journey so far? Favorite part of my journey so far? I have a lot of favorite parts. One of my first favorites was making my first 10,000 cedis. It was a major highlight for me. And also how the money came into being. Major highlight. Second favorite, which usually happens often, is when a client comes back to me and says, Patty, what you said is true. It worked. I made X amount of money. I made this. I've been able to pay for this. I love it. Another favorite is Paystack notifications. I love Paystack notifications. So please, I'm begging you, buy my products so that I can be happy and pay salaries. I beg. Another favorite was the Business and Financial Times feature. I'm in the newspapers. Daddy, I've made it. Yeah, those are just a few of my favorites. There are like lots of favorites. Next question is, if I could do this all over again, what would I change? To be honest, I won't change anything. I used to be embarrassed about my mistakes, but I've learned to embrace my mistakes, because a lot of my mistakes are learning curves that helps me push these business owners that I work with. So every mistake that I've made has helped me make a better strategy plan, or has helped me help take somebody out of it. A lot of things, when you've not experienced it, you don't really understand the depth or the impact. Sometimes you need to go through it to understand that I need you to not make the same mistake that I made. So I won't change anything. It is part of who I am now. Are you happy? Okay. Then another question is, did you have doubters and naysayers? Yes, I did. I did have doubters and naysayers. Now, one of the things that helped me was I was not hearing these doubters and naysayers because they didn't have access to me. That's the first thing. So that's one major advice I'm going to give you. Sometimes the journey you are on only makes sense to you. So these doubters and naysayers don't necessarily hate you or anything. They just don't get it. So it's up to you to guard your space, guard what comes into your ears, guard what you read, guard what you listen to, guard who you allow into your space. Do you get what I mean? So I think I only heard of one where my friend told me, and he waited until like I had some major wins before he told me that this particular person from the agency, when you launch your very first product, was like, you people should go and advise this girl because nobody will buy her products. And I'm like, are you God? Like, how do you as a human being be so sure that nobody would buy it? I was like, I'm really glad you didn't tell me then. I'm glad that you're telling me now. And it also served as fuel for me to keep doing what I do. So the naysayers and the doubters, thank you so much for doubting me. Look where we are now. Second thing about naysayers and doubters is during my incubation period, so many things happened, so many things shifted in my mindset. So when I came out and I started Party the Strategist, I was not looking for external validation anymore. I was not waiting for people to tell me that, oh, thumbs up, you are doing a good job. Because I had built confidence in what I knew, and I knew that I could provide results. So their utterances didn't really make a difference to me because I was not seeking their validation. So it was just an icing on the cake. If you come to me and say, oh, I'm so proud of you, yay, but I was not looking forward to it. It makes me happy if you tell me that, but I was not hungry to hear people say, yay, keep going. So it's the same with the naysayers. It didn't really make any difference. I'm like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. Even if I fail several times, I'm going to keep doing it. We good? Okay. And the final question, what moments did you think, why did I quit? I have had a lot. In fact, just October 2022, I had one of those moments. But what keeps me going is the fact that if I decide to quit, who is going to take these women, these men, whose businesses I'm helping grow to the promised land? Right? So I've come to understand and embrace the fact that you are hopeful, the fact that you believe things will work out does not mean that you're not going to experience challenges. Every single thing comes with challenges, be it business, be it relationships, whether platonic or romantic relationships. Even your siblings, you and your siblings have issues. You and your mom would have, it's human nature. Challenges are a part of life, so embrace that. Brace yourself for the wahala, and you are going to be fine. Last question, would I consider getting a 9-to-5 not as a full-time job but as a consultant, which means that it's not going to be a 9-to-5? I come as and when I want, You probably have to have a whole marketing department that is doing execution. I do top level strategy. I monitor your work, monitor results, analytics, all of that. But I do not think that I want to go into a 9 to 5. However, if God shows up next week and says that, my darling girl, I'm taking you to Netflix worldwide as the marketing manager, I will humbly take that call, because of course Netflix will pay well. So that I don't have to go through the stress of entrepreneurship. But currently, in the phase that I'm in now, I do not see myself taking a 9 to 5. My schedule is too tight for me to accommodate that. So to wrap it up, my darlings, I'm going to leave a few pointers for you as an entrepreneur. The first one is, make sure you are solving a problem for your customers, your target customers. That's the basics of running a business. Now, solutions provide results. Results provide happy clients. Happy clients provide confidence, and the confidence gives you the room to keep doing it. And that's how you make money. When this is happening, it makes it a little bit easier. Do you get what I mean? So invest so much time in providing solutions. Invest so much time in improving on your craft so that you can keep providing solutions for your customers. The second thing I'm going to leave with you is, people will call you what you call yourself, right? I started calling myself Patty the Strategist, and now everybody, including my friends, see me and say, Patty the Strategist. Like, there's some weight that comes with how they call me, because I started calling myself that, right? I started calling myself Dr. Strategy, and now almost everybody calls me Dr. Strategy. I started calling myself the badass marketing strategist, and everybody sees me and says, oh, the badass marketing strategist. So you first need to believe in yourself and call yourself what you want people to call you. Don't wait for people to clap for you. Clap for yourself, and those who are looking on would clap for you. It's reverse psychology. Try it and come and give me your testimony. The third thing is, follow who know road, right? Entrepreneurship can be muddy waters. It can be messy. So it's always ideal that you find somebody who has the knowledge in what you are seeking to do. If you have to pay to get access, please pay and get access. It saves you like half of the stress that you go through. Somebody has already figured it out on your behalf. Avoid the mistakes they already made and get things rolling. So apart from the money you are going to put aside for capital, put money aside for the experts who already know what's going to work and what's not going to work. All right. Now, the fourth thing is, find yourself in communities that are full of like-minded people. One of my favorite communities is the Inner Circle by Michael Lawson and Nanelle Foriata. That's 1,000. That community has been a solid support system for me. They're constantly pouring into us. Like, there's so much to learn in that group. It's pure love vibes and just us ranting when we need to rant. Now, the final thing, which is also the most important, is to put God at the core of your business. Now, here's my theory. You are looking to serve consumers, right? These consumers are humans. Who created the humans? He understands how we think. He understands our consumer behavior. He understands what we will even become in a year or two. So who is the best person to tell you how to innovate, which solutions to provide, how to reach these people? He's the top guy, chief strategist. That's him. So focus your business on him, tie your purpose into him, and he'll show you the way. I hope you really enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. I'm looking to hear from you. Share this with anybody you feel needs help, somebody who you feel needs to hear this conversation, somebody who needs to be inspired. Okay, people, so this brings us to the end of another episode on Beyond the Strategy podcast. My name is Patty the Strategist. Don't forget, you're a badass. Peace and love.